Beals here with no nonsense, cause you can't make sense if you don't make sense. A pod with freestyle discussion, poetry and social deconstruction.
Welcome and good morning. You're listening to the No Nonsense Podcast, episode 8 on October the 28th. I'm your host, Big Beals. And with me as always is Big Burn. Today, we're going to start it off with just a little poem for y'all. Today, like most days, I feel like a small pawn while I'm outside busying myself with my lawn. I obviously have no troubles or strife because all I give a shit about is my lawn for my life. So, today, if you couldn't guess, I would like to talk about lawn care. And I want to ask the question, someone who extensively takes care of their lawn throughout the day and multiple times in a week, is that indicative of someone who is masking their desire to actually do something real in the world? Or is it something that actually just gives them pleasure and a satisfaction of a job well done?
I think anybody who consumes their entire life with lawn care and takes that much pride in lawn care is probably going through a midlife crisis. Because there's no way that anybody can give that much of a shit about lawns. And I see these people going through and they care that much, and it kind of blows me away. And as you said in the poem, pawns just doing lawns. I've also seen plenty of pawn pieces from chess sets doing their own lawns as well, and I think they're going through similar struggles.
Absolutely, and I do want to acknowledge, though, that the fact that the growing rate of grass counters has increased with a lot of job security. And those of you who don't know, grass counter is one who is hired by homeowners to count each individual blade of grass in their lawn, and then we were able to constitute what is a healthy lawn. So I think lawn care does provide jobs for others, does it not?
Yeah, I mean, actually, there's a government website that I remember looking at in college. You could check statistics of, growing industries, what, if you're trying to graduate with a degree, what you should maybe try to get into, pragmatically speaking, so that you can get some job security. And from what I hear, blade counting is in the top 5 in the Northern Hemisphere. And it's pretty insane, really. I mean, have you heard what the most recent count is worldwide for blades of grass?
That Big Burn, I would like to report happily that we are now well over 35 blades of grass in the whole world here. Now, I also want to ask as well, what's your opinion of Kentucky bluegrass?
Kentucky bluegrass is a genre of music that was born out of EDM, and what we tend to see here is fire hydrants, typically. Paul McCartney, that's his main instrument that he used, and that's how he's able to create so much magic.
I would like to ask you yet again, Big Burn, about what you think the correlation is between lawn care and lawn care providers and BDSM.
As far as I can tell, I see no correlation.
Well, that brings me to my second question. If a member of your community was injured in lawn care, who would front the bill? Would it be the lawn itself, or should it come from the street, who has nothing to do with the lawn?
I'd say the lawn itself, but also Dr. Schneebly, who's down at the University of Nebraska Medical Center. He is taking on a humanitarian project where he fronts all costs of all lawns in said business industry, multiplied by any Honda Civic that you can bring in at a discounted rate. So what happens is he fronts the bill. You can compensate him by giving him a prorated discount rate on any DirecTV or Cox Cable, Time Warner said bill. And then he'll take that, multiply the grass, mix it around in geometry class, and then what we tend to see here is kids graduating second grade geometry at discounted rates.
Wow, Big Burn. So I I want to assume that the grass is greener on the other side.
Except for when it's dirty, muddy shit brown.
Oh, that's true. That's when you don't water your grass. Which brings me to my next question. Watering grass. Now, we all know it should be done at the hottest part of the day when the sun is shining the brightest.
I typically use Kool-Aid.
And that you did jump to the question. Should people be using more Kool-Aid based water or standard water from the well?
Standard water from the well is outdated as far as I'm concerned. Kool-Aid, the thing about Kool-Aid is if you use orange, purple, or blue Kool-Aid, not red or yellow. Let me emphasize that fact.
Not red or yellow.
That's right. That's right. Your grass will typically grow at a rate 4 times the speed of typical well water. And why would you want that? Why would you want to keep on cutting your grass at that exponential rate? Mm-hmm. And the answer is if you're going through a midlife crisis and your whole life is consumed by the idea of cutting a lawn, then you could spend the entire day out there and not have to worry about fucking your fat wife. And you could just sit there all day and do it, and you'll be totally consumed with cutting the lawn and never have to do anything else, and then you could die happily in your lawn.
Yes, which also brings me to another question. We are seeing a lot more people these days requesting to be buried in front of the lawn, but now, interestingly enough, we are finding more people that would rather die on their lawn, execution style, and leave their bodies to become one with the lawn, not 6 feet under, but on top of the lawn. What do you think of that, Big Burn?
That's too controversial there, Bill.
All right. Well, we are very glad you pod listeners have listened to this podcast. And as always, like we like to do, we're going to leave this listener, this guy, these people with a nice little poem from our guy, Big Burn. Big Burn, take us away.
Sure. If you have a lawn, do not use well water, use Kool-Aid. Well water is just a temporary Band-Aid. If you're going through a midlife crisis and hate ISIS, all you want to do is stop fucking your fat wife and live on a lawn. Now, how many ponds will be considered in the multiple dawns era? There's multiple ways of eating grass, not multiple ways of sucking gas. So think about that the next time you buy a lawnmower at a discounted rate, because there's way too many people out there that could be irate. So many lessons for so many people. I'm just back sitting here trying to dilate my pupils. So, with that, that's the concluding piece. Don't forget to mow your lawn. Forever Dawn.
And live at peace. Thank you. You listened to the iPod Podcast.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Hope you got some insight and a few laughs. That's all for now, folks. Yes, goodbye. Till next time, as long as we don't